Hello YouTube, Sir Dragon X here, coming to you from Santa Fe, New Mexico, but not for long. I'm getting ready to get on a plane to go back to Mexico. What are you doing here? What? You're going back to Mexico? After you just finished doing a video about how dangerous Mexico is? What, you don't like it here? Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we share your experience here in Santa Fe and compare being in Santa Fe to being in San Miguel de Allende in the video coming up next. Welcome back to Retired Life in Mexico, No Bull. Not only where we present you with the facts, but we present you with the true reality. Today, I'm going to get up close and personal. I decided to get away from the controversy of some of my latest videos and try something fun. I'm sure this video won't be controversial, or will it? I hope not. As you know, I've been back in the United States for the last 3 weeks. Although I grew up on the South Texas border, I'm actually originally from Santa Fe, New Mexico. That's right, folks. I'm a full-blooded New Mexican. No, not Mexican, New Mexican. As always, before we start, I want to remind you to subscribe to this channel and hit the little bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. I also encourage you to like this video if you enjoyed the content. It actually helps me get the word out on YouTube. If you have any questions, I also encourage you to leave a comment in the comment section below with any questions you might have or any suggestions you might have for future content. Also, don't forget to visit us on Facebook and Instagram at the links listed in this video and on the description of our channel. As you all know, I traveled back to New Mexico to conduct some personal business. Well, all I can say is this has been a long 3 weeks. Being away from my beautiful wife and 2 fur babies, or as we call them, the girls, has been tough. I am eager to get back home for sure. Now, as I was preparing to leave, I sat back to reflect on the difference on the 2 places I essentially call home. I also started to reflect on my move to Mexico and how my life has changed drastically. So I sat down and started doing a comparison of life in Santa Fe, New Mexico versus life in San Miguel de Allende. I began to realize why I was so drawn to San Miguel de Allende. Actually, there are a lot of similarity between both places. I even read somewhere in a travel magazine that San Miguel de Allende is considered the Santa Fe of Mexico. Now, I have to admit, these 2 places are very similar. Probably the only difference between the 2 is the architecture. Both places have this magical aura to them that I can't explain. That's why you have to visit to really understand. Actually, both places share so much similarity that the only real big difference is that one is in Mexico and the other one is in the United States. While I was reflecting, I thought, what better of an idea to compare the 2? In reality, I will not be comparing the 2 per se. I guess I'll be comparing my personal feelings about life in the United States versus my life in Mexico. What a better way to compare than starting both off on the same level playing field, comparing 2 similar places in 2 different countries. Now, the method that I'm going to use to compare is to share my stay in Santa Fe with you and comment on the differences that I see between my life in Mexico and my stay in Santa Fe. My hope is that this will give you some idea of the difference between life in the United States versus life in Mexico. Now, let's start off on how I first felt when I got here to Santa Fe. Well, my first day in Santa Fe was a trip down the road to Albuquerque to the Apple store. And you know what? After that followed a major shopping spree. I purchased everything in sight. I was like a kid in a candy store. Well, when I finally started shopping, or should I say I was almost broke, I noticed something. I hadn't shopped like this for a long time. Actually, I rarely purchase luxury items when I'm in Mexico. It's almost like I felt I had to shop when I got to Santa Fe to feel content. Now that I look back, I feel content no matter what when I'm in Mexico. I never feel the need to buy stuff like I do when I'm back here in the United States. Now, sure, I will admit I went to the Apple Store to buy a computer to edit videos for this YouTube channel. But what amazed me was all the useless stuff that I bought at all the other places. I somehow convinced myself that I needed it, or it was such a good deal I couldn't pass it up. Now, don't think the shopping spree stopped there. I had a constant barrage of packages coming in daily from Amazon. Now, the big question is, how am I going to fit all this stuff in my luggage? Now, after a full day of shopping and I was headed back home, I realized that I needed some food. So I stopped into this local supermarket to purchase a bag of groceries. And oh my God, $120 for a bag of groceries. I'm talking just one bag of groceries. With $120 in San Miguel, I can fill up a whole cart with groceries. Now, I know what you're going to probably say. You're in Santa Fe, New Mexico. It's expensive there. Of course groceries are going to be $120 for a bag of groceries. Well, that's true. But it's very important to note that actually San Miguel, even though it's affordable for me, in Mexico is considered one of the more expensive places to live, just like Santa Fe. They share that similarity. Now, I don't know what happened. By this time, my stress level went up from like a level 1 to a level 5. Of course, I'm retired. It didn't go up to level 10, but it did get to a level 5. I don't know how to explain it, and I really can't put my finger on it, but I was actually stressed out. It seemed like everyone was always in a rush. The Apple Store was packed. The Apple Store attendant was trying to push me out the door as quickly as I purchased my stuff. I was going through the self-checkout counter at the grocery store, and the people behind me in the line were sneering at me as if they were thinking, why doesn't this guy just hurry up? And to be honest with you, I think at the self-checkout, my stress level did reach around 6 or 7 for a moment there. Well, after the grocery store, I finally got home to my place in Santa Fe. Finally, a chance to relax. Well, I guess I sat down in front of the TV and started to watch the news. How stressful can that be, right? Well, to be honest with you, we don't watch TV much back in Mexico. I felt kind of weird. Not to mention, I think I should have picked a Netflix movie or something besides the news. Why? Because my stress level stayed at a 5 and even increased to a 6 or 7 at times. Actually, I don't think my stress level has gone down since I've gotten here. I sit here and wonder, how do people do it here? How did I do it? I had a high stress job. You know what? Coming to think about it, I think I went from adrenaline junkie to pure calm after detoxing in Mexico. Well, after raising my stress levels with the news, I kind of started to relax. And I went to bed and started reflecting. Why did I feel this way? I don't work a high-stress job anymore. There are long lines in Mexico and nobody complains. When I first got to Mexico, I would complain like there was no tomorrow, but I kind of learned to accept it. I learned to accept it to the point that actually going to the grocery store and buying groceries is a relaxing activity for me. Actually, what used to be something stressful and waiting in a long line has actually become relaxing. I actually even socialize with the people in the line. You don't know how many interesting people that I've met just striking up a conversation with a person behind me in a line in Mexico. Well, I finished my reflection with a big wow. I've only been here for one day and I'm gonna go home broke and at stress level 10 by the time I go home. I went to bed determined that tomorrow would be a better day. Well, I woke up the next day to my frozen waffles instead of my fresh organic yogurt, which, by the way, costs an arm and a leg here in Santa Fe and isn't really fresh. This is when it really hit me. I'm back in the United States. Then I cranked up the Keurig and made myself a cup of coffee. You know what? It didn't taste as good as my fresh brewed coffee I usually have in San Miguel. Now, as my week went on, I started to run out of food. I thought about going to the grocery store, but heck, I got Grubhub, so that sounds great. I don't even need to leave my house. They deliver McDonald's straight to your doorstep. Needless to say, I have been eating out for the remainder of my stay because it's just convenient. Boy, do I sure miss home-cooked, fresh, organic meals. Okay, let me explain. When I'm back in San Miguel, I exercise. One of my main things after my cancer was to recuperate, and I exercise by walking 3 miles a day. Nothing very serious, but I usually walk 3 miles a day, and I do some resistance band exercises. But unfortunately, here in Santa Fe, I have yet to exercise. I just don't have the motivation. It's so nice and cool inside my air-conditioned home here. Speaking of air conditioning, we don't even have an air conditioning in our house in San Miguel. And the house has always stayed at perfect temperature. And the ironic thing is, the weather is pretty much the same here as it is in San Miguel. But the big difference is, here in the United States, you don't really open your windows because you have central air conditioning. Yeah, but you know what the weird thing is with central air conditioning? It usually happens to me when I come back to the United States. I all of a sudden get these allergies. I start coughing, I start sneezing, I have congestion. And I just don't have that back in Mexico. It's for some reason, the fresh air, I just don't have allergies. Well, that's about as much as I can share because the rest of the 3 weeks has been pretty busy for me with this project that we're doing here. So I'm gonna just finish off by saying, I've survived, folks. And it's been a rough 3 weeks. I'm gonna be going home with high cholesterol and broke. Well, you can imagine, I am so ready to get back home. But wait, this is my home too. Actually, in reality and in retrospect, it hasn't been a bad visit at all. I've enjoyed spending time with my family here in Santa Fe. Nothing like drinking one of my uncle's famous margaritas or going to have lunch with my aunts at the family woodyard. I've even been getting my fix of New Mexican food and my fix of green chili. So it hasn't been a bad 3 weeks. What I have noticed though is that living in Mexico and being here are two different things. And I call both places home. You see, New Mexico will always be where I came from and will always be home. But in the end, I have built a new home in Mexico and I love it. I am looking forward to getting back to my healthy lifestyle, reduce stress levels, but I will still miss my family and miss my home here. Hope you enjoyed this little glimpse into my life. And until next time, don't forget to subscribe. I got a plane to catch. See you soon.